You are not unlucky. Every office cold does not have to be yours. Every season shift does not have to floor you. Every minor change in weather does not have to become 3 weeks of recovery. But here you are, getting sick again. And the frustrating part is not the illness. It is the question underneath it. Why does everyone else bounce back in 2 days, and I am still coughing at week 3? The answer is not bad luck. It is not a weak immune system in general. It is specifically, and this distinction matters, low Lung Wei Qi. In this episode of the S.O.F series, Symptom to Organ to Food, we explore low immunity, lungs, Wei Qi, reset, download, free infographic, Lung Wei Qi, reset, guide. And how specific foods from Asian kitchens, many already on your shelf, rebuild the lung's outer protective shield. If you are new here, a warm welcome. The S.O.F series stands for Symptom to Organ to Food. We have explored Episode 1, Fatigue in the Kidneys. Episode 2, Digestion in the Spleen. Episode 3, Anxiety in the Kidney-Heart Connection. Episode 4, Broken Sleep in the Liver. Episode 5, Sugar Cravings in the Spleen. Episode 6, Burnout in the Kidney-Liver, Axis. Episode 7, Restlessness and the Heart. Episode 8, Moves to the body's outer boundary. The lungs are not just breathing organs, they are the body's first line of defense, the organ that faces the outside world and decides what gets in. Part 1. What is Lung Wei Qi? In classical Chinese medicine, the lungs govern something called Wei Qi. Wei, meaning defensive or protective. Qi, meaning vital energy. Wei Qi is the body's outer protective force. Think of it as the invisible boundary between your body and the environment. A field of energy that circulates just beneath the skin and across the surface of the body, constantly assessing and responding to external threats. Cold, wind, damp, pathogens, allergens. When Wei Qi is strong, you walk through a room full of sick people and come home fine. When Wei Qi is depleted, a slight chill becomes a cold. A single exposure becomes a week in bed. Modern medicine maps this closely to mucosal immunity. The immunoglobulin A that lines the respiratory tract and forms the first barrier against inhaled pathogens. When Wei Qi is weak in traditional terms, mucosal IgA is low in modern terms. The language is different, the reality is the same. The lungs produce Wei Qi in Chinese medicine by extracting energy from the air we breathe and from the foods we eat, particularly from the spleen's digestive output. This is why digestion and immunity are inseparable. This is also why episodes 2 and 5 of this series, the spleen episodes, are the foundation for this one. Shifu tip. The lungs and large intestine are paired organs in TCM. They are two ends of the same respiratory digestive channel. This is why gut health and lung health are so tightly linked. When the gut microbiome is disrupted, lung immunity weakens. When the lungs are chronically inflamed, bowel irregularity often follows. Modern immunology now confirms that 70% of the immune system lives in the gut. Traditional medicine knew this, it just called the connection by different names. Part 2. What depletes Wei Qi today? Weak lung immunity does not usually have one cause. It is the accumulation of several modern habits that work together to thin the body's outer boundary. Grief and prolonged sadness. The lungs in Chinese medicine are the organ of grief. This is not metaphor. Prolonged sadness, unprocessed loss, and the quiet melancholy of modern disconnection directly suppress lung function and Wei Qi. This is why people who have experienced significant loss often become more susceptible to illness in the months that follow. The research on grief and immune suppression confirms what traditional medicine observed centuries ago: cold foods and drinks as a daily habit. The lungs are a warm, moist organ. They do not respond well to cold. Regular consumption of ice-cold water, chilled drinks, raw food in large quantities, and cold dairy weakens the lung's ability to produce and circulate Wei Qi. In Indian, Chinese, and Japanese traditional medicine, warm or room temperature fluids are near universal for respiratory health. This is not coincidence. Shifu tip. Try this simple shift for 1 week. Replace your first morning glass of cold water with warm water and a small pinch of rock salt. Not hot, just warm. This is how most traditional Asian households start the day. It warms the lung channel, hydrates the mucous membranes, and does not shock the digestive system awake. Unremarkable change. Measurable result. Dry, indoor air. The lungs are called the tender organ in TCM because they are the most sensitive to environmental conditions. Dry air, from air conditioning, central heating, or winter conditions, directly dries the lungs' mucous membranes. This is one of the most overlooked factors in recurrent respiratory illness. The body's first line of defense, the mucus layer, literally dries out. Overwork and irregular sleep. The lungs are active between 3 and 5 a.m. in the Chinese body clock, the hours when the body completes its respiratory repair. Consistently poor sleep, particularly waking in this window, interrupts lung tissue renewal. This is also why long-term overwork is one of the most reliable predictors of recurrent illness. The body never fully completes its repair cycle. Refined sugar and processed foods. Excess refined sugar is directly immunosuppressive. Research shows that a large glucose load can impair white blood cell function for several hours. In TCM terms, sugar and damp-producing foods, refined flour, fried food, cold dairy, create internal dampness that clogs the lung channel and weakens Wei Qi circulation. Part 3. How weak Wei Qi feels. Weak lung. Wei Qi does not always announce itself as frequent illness. It often appears more quietly. Getting sick with every seasonal change or temperature shift. Illness that lingers, slow to start, slow to clear. Recurrent colds that never fully resolve before the next one arrives. Sensitivity to wind and cold, feeling exposed outdoors, even in mild weather. Skin that is dry or easily reactive, eczema, dryness, itching. Shallow breathing, chest tightness, not from asthma but from general constriction. A tendency to fatigue more after illness than others seem to. Mild, persistent congestion, or a runny nose that is always there. The skin is considered an extension of the lungs in Chinese medicine. Weak Wei Qi manifests on the skin's surface as much as in the respiratory tract. If your skin is chronically dry, reactive, or slow to heal, your lungs may need as much attention as your moisturizer. Part 4. The food reset. In Chinese nutritional medicine, the lungs are nourished by white foods, pungent flavors in small amounts, and foods that moisten and protect the mucous membranes. The goal is not to fight illness once it arrives. The goal is to make the boundary strong enough that it rarely does. The 3 principles: moisten lung yin, tonify Wei Qi at the surface, clear damp that blocks the lung channel. All 3 recipes use ingredients found in everyday Asian kitchens. Recipe 1. Congee with white radish, ginger, and spring onion. White radish, daikon/muli, is one of the most important lung foods in East Asian and Indian medicine. It clears heat from the lung channel, dissolves accumulated mucus, and helps the body resolve illness faster. Ginger and spring onion are the classical TCM pairing for expelling wind-cold, the traditional description of early-stage respiratory infection. This congee is specifically designed for recovery from illness and for building Wei Qi in the weeks between episodes of sickness. In Japanese medicine, it is called okayu and is the first food given to anyone recovering from a cold. Ingredients: 1/2 cup white rice, 1 cup white radish, daikon/muli, grated or cut into thin rounds, 3 slices fresh ginger, 2 spring onions, scallions, white part only, sliced, 4 cups water or light vegetable stock, 1 teaspoon sesame oil, light soy sauce or white miso, a few drops to finish. Optional: 1 strip of kombu seaweed, cooked in from the start. Method 1. Add rice, ginger, and kombu, if using, to the pot with water or stock. 2. Bring to a gentle boil. Reduce to a very low simmer. 3. Cook for 40 to 50 minutes, stirring occasionally until rice breaks down completely into a soft, silky porridge. 4. Add white radish in the last 15 minutes of cooking, so it softens but retains its pungency. 5. Remove ginger slices. Stir in sesame oil and a few drops of soy sauce or white miso. 6. Top with spring onion. Serve warm, ideally as a light dinner or a morning meal on recovery days. How it works. White radish contains glucosinolates that support mucosal immunity and have mild antimicrobial properties. In both Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine, it is specifically prescribed for lung congestion and slow recovery from respiratory illness. Ginger's gingerols are anti-inflammatory and warming. They stimulate Wei Qi circulation at the surface. Spring onion is a classical surface-releasing herb in TCM. It opens the pores and helps the body push pathogens outward. Kombu provides iodine and minerals that support thyroid and immune function. The congee base is digested with minimal effort, meaning the body's energy can go to repair rather than digestion. Shifu tip. White radish is one of the most underused medicinal foods in the modern kitchen. In both Chinese and South Asian medicine, it is used to clear excess kapha/dampness from the lungs. If you have a tendency toward phlegm, congestion, or slow clearing colds, add white radish to your regular weekly cooking. Raw with a little salt and lemon as a side, in dal or sabzi, in miso soup. The form barely matters, the consistency does. Recipe 2. Pear, honey, and rock, sugar, lung tonic soup. This is one of the oldest and most widely used lung remedies in Chinese domestic medicine. It appears in every grandmother's kitchen across East and Southeast Asia. Pear moistens lung yin, soothes the throat, and clears dryness that makes the lungs vulnerable. In Ayurveda, pear with honey is a classical remedy for dry cough and throat irritation. The simplicity of this recipe is the point. It requires almost nothing, and it works. Ingredients: 1 large Asian pear, nashi pear, or regular pear. Peeled, cored, cut into chunks. 1 tablespoon raw honey, added after cooking, not before. 1 small piece of rock sugar, optional, use if the pear is not sweet. 3 to 4 dried red dates, jujube, stones removed. 2 slices fresh ginger. 1.5 cups water. Optional. 1 teaspoon dried goji berries. Method 1. Add pear, red dates, ginger, and rock sugar to a small pot. 2. Add water and bring to a gentle simmer. 3. Cover and cook on the lowest flame for 25 to 30 minutes until pear is completely soft and the liquid is golden and fragrant. 4. Remove from heat. Allow to cool slightly, then stir in honey. Do not add honey while hot, as heat destroys its beneficial enzymes. 5. Drink warm the liquid and eat the softened pear. Twice daily during illness, once daily as a preventive through winter months. How it works. Asian pear is rich in quercetin and has demonstrated antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects on the respiratory mucosa in multiple studies. In TCM, it is one of the primary foods for nourishing lung yin, the moisture that keeps the respiratory tract's lining intact and functional as a barrier. Raw honey is antimicrobial, prebiotic, and coats the throat mucosa to support local immunity. Red dates build the underlying qi that keeps Wei Qi strong. Ginger keeps the formula warm so the pear's moistening quality does not create internal cold. This is a recipe where traditional wisdom and modern nutritional research are in complete alignment. Shifu tip. The distinction between raw and cooked honey matters here. Raw honey retains its enzymes, antimicrobial compounds, and prebiotic fibers. Commercial processed honey has most of these removed. For this recipe, and for health use generally, look for raw, unfiltered honey from a local source. In Indian and Chinese pharmacopoeia, the quality of honey is treated as seriously as the quality of a herb. It is not a sweetener, it is a medicine. Recipe 3. Astragalus, ginger, and miso, immunity broth. Astragalus root, huang qi, is the most researched immune tonifying herb in Chinese medicine. It is not a treatment for active illness, it is a tonic. Taken regularly during healthy periods to build the Wei Qi reserve before the cold or flu season arrives. Combined with the gut-supporting power of miso and the warming circulation of ginger, this broth is a weekly ritual for long-term lung resilience. Astragalus root slices are available in Chinese herbal shops, most Asian grocery stores, and increasingly in health food stores across India and Southeast Asia. They have a mild, slightly sweet, earthy flavor. They are not eaten, they are simmered, then removed. Ingredients: 4 to 5 dried astragalus root slices, huang qi, available in Chinese grocery and herbal stores. 1 tablespoon white or light miso paste, stirred in at the very end. 3 slices fresh ginger. 2 dried shiitake mushrooms. soaked 20 minutes, sliced. Keep the soaking water. 3 spring onions, white and green parts. 1/2 teaspoon sesame oil. 3 cups water. Optional, 1 strip kombu, seaweed, removed after cooking. Method 1. Add astragalus slices, shiitake mushrooms with their soaking water, ginger, kombu, and plain water to a pot. 2. Bring to a gentle boil. Reduce to a low simmer for 30 to 40 minutes. The liquid should reduce slightly and become a rich amber golden color. 3. Remove astragalus slices and kombu. Do not eat these, they are tonics for the broth only. 4. Reduce heat to the lowest setting. The broth should no longer be boiling. 5. Stir in miso paste until dissolved. Do not boil after this. Heat destroys miso's probiotic cultures. 6. Finish with sesame oil and spring onions. Drink as a warm broth once or twice a week through the colder months or after periods of stress and low energy. How it works. Astragalus, Lung Wei Qi, has been the subject of significant modern research. It contains polysaccharides that upregulate natural killer cell activity, increase interferon production, and support macrophage function, the frontline immune cells that intercept pathogens at the body's surface. It is classified as an adaptogen and immune modulator. It does not overstimulate the immune system, but normalizes its response. Shiitake mushrooms contain lentinin, a beta-glucan that has been studied for its immune-enhancing effects across multiple clinical trials. Miso provides live probiotic cultures and glutamates that support gut-lung immunity. This is not a supplement stack. It is a weekly kitchen ritual that has been building immune resilience in Asian households for over 2,000 years. Shifu tip. Astragalus is best used as a tonic, not as a rescue remedy, during active illness. If you already have a fever or active infection, rest and simpler foods first. Astragalus is for the weeks before and after, building the reserve that means the next exposure becomes a mild inconvenience rather than a week in bed. Think of it the way you would think of regular exercise. It does not help you in the emergency. It changes whether the emergency happens. Part 5. The Wei Qi Rhythm. Reset. Food builds the material. Rhythm determines whether the body can use it. Breathe with intention, once a day. The lungs are the only major organ that can be consciously controlled. And most of us breathe approximately 80% of the way, shallow chest breathing that never fully expands the lower lung lobes where the lymphatic drainage concentrated in the lung tissue is most active. A simple practice, 5 minutes of slow, full diaphragmatic breathing each morning. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Feel the belly expand first, then the chest. Exhale slowly for 6. This is not yoga. This is basic maintenance for the lung circulation and Wei Qi output. Shifu tip. The nose is the lung's guardian. It filters, warms, and humidifies air before it reaches lung tissue. Mouth breathing bypasses all 3 functions. If you habitually breathe through your mouth at rest, during sleep, during exercise, this single habit is weakening your Wei Qi more than almost any food choice. Nose breathing is the first, most foundational lung practice. Everything else is secondary. Warm everything in the respiratory season. During autumn and winter, the lung season in Chinese medicine, shift your food and drink toward warmth almost entirely. Warm water, warm milk, cooked vegetables, congee, soups, broths. This is not restriction. It is seasonal intelligence that every traditional Asian kitchen has practiced instinctively. The lungs are a tender organ. In their season, they need warmth more than anything else. Protect the back of the neck. In Chinese medicine, wind enters the body at the back of the neck, a point called wind gate, fengmen, that sits between the shoulder blades and the base of the skull. Exposure to cold wind at this point is one of the most reliable triggers for Wei Qi disturbance. This is the reason Indian grandmothers tie a dupatta in winter. It is the reason Chinese medicine practitioners have recommended scarves for centuries. The neck and the upper back, in cold or windy conditions, keep them covered. This sounds small, the clinical observation behind it is not. Sleep before 11 p.m. in autumn and winter. The lungs' repair window is 3 to 5 a.m. The body needs to be in deep sleep by then. The autumn and winter mandate in traditional medicine is simple: earlier nights, more rest, less output. The lung is a yin organ. It restores in stillness and darkness. The modern habit of extending the day with artificial light runs directly counter to everything the lungs need in their season. To summarize, the lungs face outward. Every other organ in this series is internal, working on reserves, processing, repairing. The lungs stand at the boundary. They decide what enters. They protect the interior from what circulates outside. And they do this work with whatever material you give them. White radish in a warm congee, a pear simmered with honey and red dates, a weekly broth made with a root that has been building immunity in Asian kitchens for 2,000 years, warm water in the morning instead of cold, a scarf in the wind, 5 full breaths before the day begins. The boundary between you and illness is not luck, it is material. Build it with what you eat, what you breathe, and when you rest. The body has always known how to do this. It just needs the right ingredients. If this episode helped, share it with someone who seems to catch everything going around. Download the free infographic, Lung Wei Qi Reset Guide below. It maps the warning signs, the foods by season, and the 3 weekly rituals that build the boundary back. And subscribe to Thrive Shifu, because episode 9 of the S.O.F series goes to the body's heaviest conversation: weight and the spleen-liver axis. Because what the body holds on to is not always about food. Sometimes it is about what the spleen and liver cannot release. See you there.